This year marks a monumental milestone for the Henson Company. 70 years of storytelling magic, groundbreaking puppetry, and boundary-pushing fantasy. Founded by visionary creator Jim Henson and his wife Jane, the company's name has become synonymous with creative innovation, from the Muppets to Labyrinth and Sesame Street. Now, as the company celebrates its 70th anniversary, its chairman and Jim's son, Brian Henson, reflects on its enduring legacy, its evolving future, and the possibility of a long-awaited return to the world of the Dark Crystal. A legacy of endless innovation. The originality of the work that we do, Brian Henson told CBR, is what my parents would be most proud of. True to Jim Henson's philosophy, the company has never been content to repeat itself. Even at the height of the Muppet Show's global success, Henson ended the series after 5 seasons, fearing creative stagnation. That drive to stay inventive, whether through puppetry, digital performance, or fantastical world-building, remains central to the company's mission. Creative expression and creative thought, Brian adds, are ultimately what saves civilization. That dedication to artistry and authenticity also informs the company's first-ever auction, held in partnership with Julian's Auctions on November 25th. The event will feature official puppets, props, and memorabilia from across Henson's storied history, including pieces from The Muppets, Labyrinth, and The Dark Crystal. According to Henson, the auction is a way to allow fans and collectors to own a piece of that creative legacy legitimately. A lot of stuff that ends up in auctions was originally stolen from us, he admits. We wanted to make sure collectors have access to original and authentic pieces, the right way. Rediscovering a fantasy classic in 4K. Among the many treasures in the Henson Vault, few shine as brightly or as boldly as The Dark Crystal. Released in 1982, the dark fantasy film was a radical experiment in cinematic storytelling. It was the first live-action film ever made without human characters, featuring an entirely puppet-driven cast set in a meticulously crafted world. This October 12th and 13th, fans will be able to experience that vision anew when The Dark Crystal returns to theaters in a 4K restoration. The difference is immense, Brian Henson explains. Every creature was created by artists and performed by artists. On a theater screen, you finally see the incredible detail, every texture, every shadow, in a way that's impossible to appreciate on a small screen. It's the way the film was meant to be seen. Why The Dark Crystal still stands alone. When Jim Henson created The Dark Crystal, he wasn't aiming for box office dominance. He was reaching for something unprecedented. My dad was always drawn to bodacious goals, Brian recalls. He wanted to create an entire world from scratch. Every landscape, every creature, every movement. That's what made the film so extraordinary. Released the same year as E.T., The Dark Crystal stood apart as a fully realized alien world, handcrafted from top to bottom. Without human actors to date it, the film's visual language remains timeless, a fusion of myth, artistry, and practical effects that modern CGI still struggles to replicate. The future of Thra. A sequel isn't off the table. For years, fans have wondered if The Dark Crystal might ever continue its story, especially after Netflix's acclaimed prequel series, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, 2019. Though short-lived, the series reignited global interest in the franchise and expanded the lore of Thra. Now, Brian Henson has offered the most hopeful update yet. We are still developing within that universe, he confirms. There's definitely a gap between the miniseries and the movie, and even opportunities beyond the film. The movie feels like a full stop, but not really. There are many more stories to tell. While he remains tight-lipped about specific projects, Henson's comments make it clear that The Dark Crystal is far from dormant. It's evolving, patiently waiting for its next chapter. Behind the curtain, the art of puppetry and performance. Brian Henson has spent decades both preserving and expanding his father's artistic legacy. His own resume includes work on The Storyteller, Return to Oz, The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Little Shop of Horrors. Yet his heart lies in directing, the collaborative process that brings artists together to create something greater than themselves. I love working with artists, he says. If I'm on a set where everyone's dialed in, all moving in the same direction, It's an amazing experience. That's what keeps me doing this. Even as digital effects dominate modern filmmaking, Henson continues to champion the tactile, performance-based craft that defined his family's work. We'll use CGI, he admits, but we always try to make it performance-based rather than keyframe-based. The soul of it has to come from a performer. A message to the dreamers. As the Jim Henson Company enters its 8th decade, its message remains as clear and as vital as ever. Be inspired, be creative, be loving to one another, Brian Henson says. Those are the themes that run through everything we do. From the Muppets' joyful chaos to the haunting majesty of the Dark Crystal, the company's creations continue to remind audiences that imagination is not an escape from reality, it's a way to shape it. And if the whispers of a Dark Crystal sequel are any indication, the world of Thra and the spirit of Jim Henson's boundless creativity is far from finished.